I thought I'd sit inside and do a video today because there's just no way I can do it outside. I could probably tolerate the 15 or 20 minutes it would take me to record a video in these sub-zero temperatures, but the battery on the camera would die within just a few minutes. Yesterday when I was trying to make that video about disconnecting the RV pump from the tank, I'll put an up next box at the end of this video to that video, the battery died and I wasn't even halfway done with the video, and it wasn't even down into sub-zeros. It was, I think, 14 degrees yesterday. So I have no choice but to do a video inside. But I do know that a lot of people like me sitting in front of the wood stove making a video. So this is actually a pretty nice fire. Got a little confession to make. I don't know how big of a confession. I said that we were going to have to light the wood stove about 4 times a day in these sub-zero temperatures. And it's almost right. To be very specific, it's taken about 5 hours for this house to cool off. So I light the wood stove and 5 hours later I got to light it again. It's not too terribly bad. I mean, if you really think about the scope of things, you live in this little tiny house. You get criticized all the time about how we're not, I don't know, just a lot of criticisms about different things and aspects of our lives. But I look at this one small thing. We're in sub-zero temperatures. You can't go outside for more than 15 minutes and you're getting frostbite. And I'm lighting little pieces of wood. That's probably too big. Little pieces of wood. Well, there's, you know, I said this the other day. There is probably one log, after you get it all split up, in there right now. That's just not too shabby. Even if I needed to buy firewood, 1 cord a year, we figured that up. I think we said it was going to take about $150, $200 per year if we had to buy it. But we don't even have to buy it. I remember when I lived in a home, an actual home, had an electric furnace. I would stress about that furnace all the time in temperatures like days like these with the temperatures so low. Every time it would kick on, I would time it to see how long it's running. As soon as it would shut off, I'd time it to see how long it would shut off. And it was just always so stressful. And it was like $300 a month. And I know people, oh, you gotta, you know, that's what it was. Not gonna say it was good or bad. It was better than when we first moved in. But so far, this has been free. Now, I did tell you that we had to spend about $350 on 15 years worth of firewood. Got stuck one time. I had to get a tow truck to pull us out. And we bought a load of wood because that was our first year here and we were looking for dry firewood. I don't want to go through the whole recap again, but even if I take that $300 and I spread it over 15 years of firewood, now I know somebody's going to say, oh, you got to get up in the middle of the night to start your wood stove. Yeah, you got to get up in the middle of the night, start the wood stove. 2 things. One, it's not terrible anymore because after 5 hours, the chimney is still hot, so I don't have to sit around waiting for the chimney to heat up to start getting that draw into it. Maybe 5 minutes after I light it, it's up and going. So it wasn't so bad this morning when I got up. It's not near as bad as sitting there stressing about the electric furnace kicking on every 15 minutes. It was always just such a stress. And the thing is, last night I got up and it was right around, I don't know, 57 degrees. At 1:30. I should have set my alarm at midnight. That's what I should have done. But it was my mistake. I could have gotten up earlier and I could have lit the wood stove when it was at 66 degrees instead of 57 degrees or 67 degrees, whatever it is. I just didn't do it. But when I lived in that house, we would turn down the thermostat to 50 degrees every night. We had these huge blankets. The dogs were always, this is better. This is the dream. I was just asked this question, which I kind of cover in this video a little bit. How do you get started with the dream? Love the dream, the whole thing. You get started with the dream by being stressed all the time. And you want to get away from the stress. So if you're already there, then the next step is you got to get debt free. I can't seem to convince people of that. I don't know why that is such a hard thing to conceptualize. And this does not cost a lot of money. I saw a post on Facebook the other day. Somebody complaining how he's been at it for 8 years and he still isn't living off grid, and if you're not careful, you're going to go broke. You're going to owe everybody in the world money because you got all these things that you got to set up. I have no idea what this person is talking about. You figure I had the 100-year-old home and I had to renovate it, so I spent more money on it. So I think it was like $36,000 is what the mortgage was, plus we had to renovate it, put an electric furnace in it and new windows. So I mean, by the time it was all said and done, it was probably a $50,000 or $60,000 home. But here, let's just say for the extreme, we're at $15,000. I don't understand the Facebook post that you're going to be in debt forever. I know what it is. People don't really look at the dream the way I look at it. My dream was to be off-grid. Not to have all the farm animals and the 1,000 acres and the tractors and the bulldozers, and that's not the dream. That's the toys. One of the reasons people can't achieve their dream is they're out buying toys all the time. Stop buying. Get debt free. Then you find yourself a little piece of property, $4,200. I say it all the time, and just rolls off the tongue now, $4,200. Oh, that's not the dream. You need 20 acres. You got to be out in the middle of nowhere. You got to live on the moon. You got to get away from people. Well, I live on 1.5 acres and nobody bothers me. So I must be doing something right. The reason people are bothering you, the reason you feel like you need to move 20,000 miles away from everybody is because you want to socialize. You can't help yourself but to mingle. And the only way you can keep from mingling is to get away from people. Of course, you could just have the discipline that Carolyn and I have and say, okay, I'm away from people because I don't want to talk to people. You put up a no trespassing sign and you enforce that no trespassing sign. I want everybody to think that I am the worst person in the world, that I am unsociable, that you do not want to talk to that grumpy old man. Just leave him alone. That's what I want. I'm fine with that. I don't need friends. I need the dream. I need happiness. The other thing is, I lose so many subscribers when I say this. Stop the addictions. You got to stop them. All of them. The smoking, both things, got to get rid of those. Carolyn and I quit smoking cigarettes, and we went to vape for about a year. Used vape to quit smoking. And now we don't smoke. So, I mean, all that money savings. And the alcohol. I go to the grocery store, the Dollar General, or the gas station, and you see 4 or 5 people in front of you all carrying these big 24 cases. Why? You're not accomplishing your dream. You're so miserable that you drink, dreaming of the dream, but you can't afford the dream because you're so busy drinking because you're so miserable. Well, just get rid of the stress. Start now. You've got the dream. Start focusing on the dream. Carolyn and I were so stressed when we were working. It was terrible. I mean, I've explained it a million times. It was absolutely terrible. And I remember what had happened. They hired this consultant to come and do some team building with us. Carolyn and I had already bought a pop-up camper, and we were thinking about traveling and all this stuff. And the consultant asked us to write down where we saw ourselves in 5 years. And I said in that, I see myself traveling. I didn't say anything about the company. And so that moment, I realized I'm quitting. I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice in. And it was probably within a few days I'd put my 2 weeks notice in. And when they asked me, why are you quitting? And I said, because the consultant asked me, where do I see myself in 5 years? And I said, traveling. Well, the traveling didn't work out the way we had hoped. There was a lot of beautiful experiences, and there was a lot of things that we think fondly of. But there was still quite a bit of stress involved. And one of the things that we wanted to do was just get rid of the stress. What was the next thing? We enjoyed the off-grid portions of things. I mean, that was nice. I haven't paid an electric bill in like 6 years. You know, people tell me, you got a generator. There's no way you live off-grid. Well, that's fine. Whatever you want to say. I just don't care what your definition of off-grid is. I'm the one that is doing it, and I'm the one that says, hey, I've accomplished my dream. So I'm not sure what business it is of yours, whether you think I meet your definition of off-grid. Again, if you feel like you need to live 1,000 miles away from somebody, that's because of you. That's because you can't distance yourself from people. I don't have a problem with people. I said that just a few minutes ago. If you have a problem with people, it's because you keep mingling with people. Put up your no trespassing sign and enforce it. When somebody knocks on your door, you don't open the door and say, hey, how can I help you? No, you say, you open the door, or maybe you don't even open the door, and you say, you're trespassing. That's it. That's all you got to say. And when they argue with you, you say, I'm calling the police now. That's it. That's all you got to say. And if you get hurt on my property at this point forward, it's on you. They leave. Even if they want to come and chew you out for something. I got somebody coming over here one time wanting to chew me out because of something, Facebook thing in the community, and he walks up, big macho guy. Hi, you the homeowner? May I help you? Yeah, I need to know if you're the homeowner. I said, because I didn't know if it was a police officer. I said, you're trespassing. I know. Okay. and he left. I don't have any problems with people. He left. I haven't seen him since. I haven't seen him on Facebook since. Gone. And then you just find yourself a piece of property. How do you find a piece of property? You can't find property. Yeah, you can. Just get on Facebook Marketplace and make it your life's mission. Instead of sitting there watching a football game, drinking your beer, sit on Facebook scrolling. And that's it. That's what you do. Carolyn does it all the time. Just scrolls, trying to find something, some free thing, some cheap thing. And we get all kinds of deals. The problem is I'll sit here and I'll preach it, and somebody will say, yeah, but. Well, then that's the next thing. Stop with the yeah, buts. There is no yeah, buts. There is, I have a dream. This is how I'm going to accomplish it. This is how Little House Off Grid accomplished it, but I think I might even do it a little different. Not yeah, but I got child support. Yeah, but I got a wife. Yeah, but. That is your yeah, but. You work through the problem. There is no problem that can't be solved. There are two types of people. There are people who see a situation and solve the situation, and then there are people who see a situation and say, I've got a problem, and they can't get past it. I don't even want to hear the problem. I just want to hear the solution. Heck, I don't even want to hear the solution. Just implement a solution. So if you're looking for a problem and you say, yeah, but, give it up. Or the next best thing. You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay, then you can't do it. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you say you can't do that, then guess what? You can't do that. People like the property. I can't find property. Then you can't find property. That's your problem. Too bad. I'm not going to go looking for it for you. But sometimes I think that's what it is. They want somebody else to do the job. I've been showing a series of videos that I did when I built this tiny house. I got one guy to say, you know, sometimes I have to remind myself that you did all this by yourself. I did this all by myself because I didn't say, yeah, but every time there was a situation. I didn't say, oh, you can't do that. There is a solution to every problem. We moved into this property with a homemade truck camper during the pandemic when I couldn't buy propane. Anybody with the I can't mindset or the yeah, but mindset would have said, well, I guess we're done. I don't know what we're going to have to move. Just get out of here, get an apartment. No, we have to be able to heat the place. We know winter's coming. And that's another thing. I was working on the heat exchanger back in like May, and I didn't have to worry about having heat until October. So then the next step, now you got your property, $4,200. This one had a well. I've seen others that had a well. So the next step is solar panels. That's what we did. We bought the solar panels. Oh, $17,000 is what it's going to cost. Ours cost about $2,000, but here's the thing. I don't expect to power a mansion with it. And I really think that's what people, they don't want to give up anything. They don't want to live a minimalistic lifestyle. They don't even know what the dream is. The dream is, I want to be left alone and have all my toys and all my gadgets, and I want to be able to power the world off my solar panels for $17,000. I can't afford it. No, you can't afford it. You know, Carolyn and I, we run a freezer, a couple tablets, well, one tablet. I just bought myself a laptop because the tablet was dying, and I bought a refurbished laptop. Still have plenty of power for that. We also have this wash machine now. We've gotten to a stage, and that's the thing, is we worked up to these steps. You know, when we were nomads, we had a little refrigerator, and that was it. If you think you're going to power your 55, 60,000 inch screen TV, no. If you think you're going to have the modems, and so you can have the Super Bowls and all that, no, you got to give it all up. If you're telling me that you got to have these things, then that is the dream. This is not. This is a fantasy. And there's a big difference between fantasy and a dream. A dream you can accomplish. If you dream it, you can do it. A fantasy, I used to fantasize that I could fly like Superman. Guess what? Never going to be able to do that. I mean, like Superman. I could build jets. I've thought about that. And I have jetpacks and those kind of things. But as far as flying with kryptonite and all that stuff, no. I won't. That was a fantasy. Childhood fantasy. A dream is, I would like to have a off-grid tiny house, and I'd like to be left alone. I would like to not have to work so much. How can I do that? Oh, I know. We'll buy us a little piece of property with a well on it and build a tiny house with used materials that we found off Facebook Marketplace and learn how to build it off YouTube. But again, people don't want to take the time to do that. There's one of the things I had to do was buy the metal roofing material for the walls and the roof and all that. And I really had no idea what I was doing. It was the biggest nightmare ever. And it took a lot of studying and a lot of concentration, a lot of sleepless nights thinking about, because everything had different names and soffits and trims and there must have been 1,000 different things that I had to look at. But I got it, and I got it right the first time. Had all the pieces I needed. I mean, Menard screwed up the order, but that wasn't my fault. But it took time to figure all that out. If I'd have been drinking watching the Super Bowl, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to that video I was talking about. So I hope I can inspire you to identify your dreams. Yeah, but so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.